So watch this. I've entered a slash command, and Claude Code is now going to create engaging YouTube thumbnails from scratch. It's going to brainstorm the angle, it's going to read the headline, it's going to create prompts, and it's going to prompt Gemini, and done. This is one of the 10 plus commands that I have built in Claude Code, and the wild part is one of them is actually a command that builds other commands. And what should come up is in the output folder, I have a special thumbnail folder, and here is what's going to drop the thumbnails. So while this loads, it's looking at the headline, and what I did is I also attached YouTube thumbnail references so it knows. So this thumbnail is simple, but in the back end, it's a prompt. It's a Gemini Pro prompt expert and understands thumbnails really well. And so I'm gonna give you some recap of some of the thumbnails that I do have. Okay, this is actually a reference. So this is actually some that I generated. This was when I did some testing, and this is one of my latest ones. I like this one. Just to give you some context, this one is actually smart now because, as you can see here, this one was the inspiration, and this is what it came up with. So different topic, but same concept. And how I have it set up is that it's going to generate 2 thumbnails, so 1 per each reference image. And I found that this layout works best because thumbnails change all the time. You don't want to have a static library, which is how I started. I had a reference library and I thought it could work like that, and it could. But now this is a little bit better. Here, I'm gonna show you the output. So this is for this topic. Ironically, this is for this video that I'm recording right now. And let's see what it came up with. So 20 commands. I think it's pretty good. So I think the biggest unlock here is that this command is actually not copying any reference images. It's just getting inspired by it. And it has color theory, has all these details on the back end baked in. So the agent is actually like a smart graphic designer who uses the thumbnails that it has as a reference, as inspiration, taking what's proven to generate the thumbnails and not copy them. So here's number 1, here's number 2. So to be honest, I'm happy with it. I think this is unique and I'm going to use them. And thumbnails is something that used to take me forever, and you just saw it ran in less than 3 minutes. So this is one of the 10 custom slash commands that I have. And to show you the slash commands, I have them in here. They're under the commands folder. And so just to give you additional context, they run agents. So one slash command has basic instructions that triggers sub agents to do the stuff. So as you can see here, this is going to be the YouTube thumbnail. And all I gotta do is type in the headline and it gets to work. So I have a lot of slash commands here, and arguably I don't use a lot of them anymore, mainly because I rely on OpenClaw as well. My workflow is changing as we speak. Analyze Short was meant to analyze the analytics for shorts. I no longer use it. OpenClaw does it for me. Same thing with Analyze, which analyzes the long form videos or just other social media platforms. Claude Cleanup is actually something that I want to enhance by the end of the video. We're going to create one from scratch. This one is supposed to generate scripts. But the ones that I really use are Image. This is the one that I'm testing, and I probably have to refine. I'm going to be testing it to generate a new social media pic. And then Script is something that I also no longer use because OpenClaw does it for me. So a lot of these are just transferred to OpenClaw. I still think that Claude Code has its place. For example, thumbnail, I think that can't transfer to OpenClaw. I need to do it manually. I need to see which ones I like, which ones I don't. Probably these two are the most powerful ones. This video, this one actually edits videos for my YouTube, for shorts and for long form. And what I mean by that is I feed it, I drop them in the folder, and I run the slash command video, and I just say go. It looks at that raw folder and it just starts editing, like legit editing, cutting and deleting gaps, deleting deleting bad takes. All of that happens. So like 70% to 80% of the video is already trimmed, and all I gotta do is review and make final edits. This saves me a lot of time too. It used to take me 15 to 30 minutes to generate a thumbnail. Now it just takes me 3, which is pretty cool. So this is what my Claude Code looks like. It's a little messy, and this is something that I want to clean up. Real quick, I want to pause. If you're wondering how I created this structure, this is the default structure for Claude Code. I would recommend going into the Claude Code documentation. If you just Google, type in Claude Code documentation, you'll see the website. It'll tell you all the architecture, and you just got to feed it that link, feed it to Claude Code and say, hey, I'm starting a new code base. Help me set it up and create all the necessary folders. Now I'm gonna build a new slash command, and I'm gonna do it from scratch. I'm not gonna write a single config file. I'm just gonna use the skills that I have. And I believe I got a skill to build a command. So if you look here, I got command builder. So ironically, this is the skill that I was talking about, the command build to help me build commands. So let me type in terminal, I'm gonna hit new, and I'm gonna type in Claude. Hey Claude, help me build a new command, and use your command builder skill to help me build it. What I want to do is I want to create one that helps me analyze my code base for any workflows, whether it's commands, skills, agents that I'm no longer using, or files that's just clutter, so I can clean it up and we have to be careful not to remove anything that's in production. Give me your proposed plan and what we will need aside from the command. So notice that I just hit shift and tab and it changed it, and it was changing the status here to plan mode. Sometimes it's actually good now that it does it itself. If you said I'm going to plan, it just auto goes in plan mode. So it's here responding sub agents, and this is going to be pretty cool because it's going to save you context. So now you get even more context than you did a few months ago or even weeks ago, where it was like 200,000. Now you get 1 million, which is insane. So more context, more abilities to just stay within the same context window. And the main reason that matters is because the quality starts degrading once you reach the context window. Claude Code starts hallucinating a little bit. All right, so it took about 5 minutes. So far, here's what it came up with. This is the plan high level. It's telling me what everything. I was just looking for high level, but it went deep. So 16 commands, 23 agents, and it says what we're building. We're going to build this agent, which is going to be the main orchestrator. So if you recall earlier, I mentioned that the slash command is like a shortcut, and the shortcut is going to trigger an agent to run, and that's what it's going to do. And so there's actually 2 agents. Whenever auto delete, this is the command that's going to be called Claude audit. So I'm going to type in Claude/audit, and I just press tab, and if I trigger that, then it's going to invoke this workplace auditor agent, which is going to read the entire code base, and it's going to scope everything just like it did right now. So I'm going to hit yes, and let's see what it does. So while this loads, I want to mention that this is not the most complex command to build, and you shouldn't go after complexity. Just go with what's useful to you. I create content for YouTube, so something that's useful to me is creating YouTube thumbnails, editing videos. But at the end of the day, you want to have a solid use case before you should even create one. But ironically, you can create one just like this one, which is probably a good idea to eventually clean up your code base after. And for the thumbnail command, just to give you context, that has also 1 agent, and it took me weeks, not months, to build. So right now my workflow generates 2 thumbnails, and then I just pick the one that I want. And I'll just ask AI which one's better and why. So this looks like it's almost done, and then we can test it. I do like that it has that caution to not auto delete. That's going to just give you the report, and then you decide what to do with it. If you can see here, it's saying Sonnet 4.6, even though I'm running as Opus. But even then, it's smart enough to understand you don't need Opus for this. Opus would crush it, but you're wasting tokens. Use Sonnet 4.6. And even when it's creating the slash command is working, and it spawns sub agents to do the work, it understands what type of agents to use. So in many instances, it would use high Q, which is the lowest model for you. And all that really means at the end of the day, it's saving you money. I'm in the $200 plan, but if you're just starting off, I would recommend starting with the $100 plan, or actually the $20 plan. And if you constantly go over that and you hit the budget, then consider upgrading to the 100 if you can afford it. All right, so this is still running, almost 6 minutes deep. And I was wondering why it's taking long, because it actually already created the files and it actually ran the report for me. We didn't even have to test it because it did it for me. And so here's a summary. We got 17 commands. So the report ran. We have broken references, orphaned agents, which makes sense. I haven't used them in a while. Scale issues, stale content, misplaced files, stale outputs. So that makes sense. That can save a lot of time. All right, that's awesome. And if you want to check where it added it, you would just go to the commands. And another cool tip is if you see this light up, so I usually run a slash command commit. And what this does is pushes all my code base latest files to GitHub. In other words, it's backing it up for me. And everything that's not backed up and is not new, you can see highlighted. So here you have the commands, and here's the Claude audit. And if you want to take a peek, this is what it wrote. So it tells the right tool, it breaks it down the steps. And so that's the cool part about Claude Code. It just does it for you. You just got to describe it and it gets to work. And usually when you're in planning mode, I recommend using something like Opus because you want to get the top tier. This is the output. I'm happy with it. So that's my setup. But the commands are important because they're just like a shortcut to using workflows. But the gist is, for me, Claude Code is changing a little bit, but I'm going to use certain workflows like video editing, thumbnail generation that are more complex, more hands-on and personal. And if you're just starting off, like you can get started with this one, Claude Audit, or a simple one that works for your workflow. Just jot down what processes you do daily, what workflows work for you. And honestly, sky's the limit with what you can build with Claude Code. So before I wrap things up, I want to show you additional like default slash commands that are come off right off the gate. /help, /compact when you're, let's say you're going deep in a session is about to collapse. You see it here in the percentage. It'll tell you like if you're hitting like below 10%, and then that's when you can choose to use the /compact. At that point, I would like to just start a new session, which is why it's important to save tokens as much as you can. /status as well as helpful. And let me show you what it does. You can see the latest version, everything, stuff like that. Another one is /usage. That's really useful. It tells you where you are in your usage. So if you're using Claude Code, you're going to have to get familiar with where you're at. They usually break it down in 5-hour sessions. So if you were to max it out in your 5-hour window, you basically can't use it. They cap you. So you want to be careful, just understand how to use the right models. But the cool part is Claude Code does it for you. Research as well. But ones that I do use is press escape / commit. And instead of telling Claude Code to do anything, you just go / commit, press enter, and you're done. You wait a few seconds and it commits to GitHub. Something else worth mentioning real quick. This is a separate code base. And you see here it has my name and the other one had productivity. So just think of it like a folder. And this one is my personal website. But the point I'm trying to make here is that this is yet another use case that you can have for Claude Code, and it works well. And this is what my website looks like. This is run on Astro Framework and is hosted by Vercel. And here it is. Now, is this going to win awards in a web design? Probably not, but this is better than what I would have generated with something like WordPress, which I used in the past. Plus, it's free. It's hard to beat that. And it's faster. Look, this actually has my product. I click it. It takes me to the landing page, all custom, all with Claude Code. Hopefully this setup inspires you to build your own, and subscribe for more deep dives like this one that I do every week. Thanks for watching.